Hi, everyone. You're watching TBC 24/7 live broadcast. And my name is Paul. And this is episode 37. And it is Sunday, May 13th, 2018. This particular list is here is a solution to any financial challenges. Okay, I'd like to first go over the basics of what TBC is. It is a cryptocurrency that came out 2 years ago, March 21st, 2016. And with the goal, I should say, of eliminating global financial poverty. So unlike most of the other cryptocurrencies, we decided to mine 1 billion coins. So we call our coin the billion coin. There will never be more than 1 billion coins. But because of our algorithm that we built in order to increase the value, to control the value of the coin, rather than to go on a trading market, banking system, and lose control to the wealthy of our coin, we did not go on the coin market. So you won't find us on the coin market cap. You won't find TBC on there, or the billion coin, which it stands for. Okay, Bitcoin you will find. It was the first one that I believe that went on the trading exchange. And that coin was the first coin in the cryptocurrency field that came out in 2010 is when it started to be used. I think he had it done by 2009. That individual is anonymous, just like our creator is anonymous. Our creator calls himself Kris Kringle because he's giving the coin away like Santa Claus. And I'll explain why he's doing that in just a second here. The individual who created Bitcoin calls himself Satoshi Nakamoto. So now that Bitcoin is today, I don't know what it is. I haven't looked for about 3 days, but it was around $8,000 or $9,000 a coin. So you can buy any amount of Bitcoin because it can be divided. Cryptocurrencies can be divided by 100 million. Okay, if you're not familiar with that, it's like the dollar can only be divided by 100 pennies. That's it, 100. It can only be divided 100 by 100. Whereas a cryptocurrency coin can be divided by 100 million. Okay, so they call divisions or pieces of those coin Bitcoin. They call them after Satoshi Nakamoto's first name. They call them Satoshis. Okay, so anybody can own Bitcoin by purchasing Satoshis. They're just smaller amounts of the coin. That will is the same thing. Okay, it's just that it allows people to buy without having to spend $8,000 or $9,000 or whatever the current price is of a full Bitcoin. The billion coin, on the other hand, was created with an algorithm. That algorithm controls the value. The value is based on people. We are a private membership community. Okay? Now it's free to join. We don't charge anything to join. And each member that joins our community raises the price of our coin buy 1 grain of gold. 1 grain of gold today is worth 2.2 euros or 2.8 US dollars. So the other part of our algorithm is the max of the price. We have to have a max of what that coin will end up being, because with this algorithm and people joining our community every single day, the price has constantly gone up over the last 2-year period. For example, on March 21st, 2016, we started out with 171 people. Okay, that included at least 100 stakeholders, which is all we allowed. We vetted those individuals. We knew who they were. We knew they were like-minded. We knew what their mission was, just as ours was. So we kept control because we were partially in a position to do so with our algorithm. So it grew from there, and within 12 months, by March 21st of 2017, we had grown to just shy of 100,000. Okay, so we went from 171 to 100,000. That's about 6,000 times we grew. Okay, and then the following 12 months, between March of 2017 and March of 2018, we grew to 3 million. We went from 100,000 to 3 million. So we grew by 30 times. And this was a period that was very slow because our system was based on all the other cryptocurrencies at the time, which was the original blockchain platform. You can call it 1.0. And it is limited because it's based on some old stuff in how many transactions that can occur at one time all over the world. Okay. So once it was on a trading exchange, every trade is a transaction. So it started to bog the system down. And the transaction times really slowed. Okay, it slowed. I remember it got to the point where it was taking like 2 or 3 weeks for a transaction to go through the mining system. The miners started charging enormous fees. I remember paying $15 to send $15. It was crazy. Okay. But they forked into a new coin called Bitcoin Cash last year, and it brought the system back fairly well, fairly normal. Normal for that system is about 10 transactions per second. Okay. Now, if you're saying, well, that sounds like a lot, 10 transactions per second, that's 600 transactions in a whole minute. Okay, Visa and MasterCard does hundreds of thousands in a minute. Okay, they're all over the world. Okay, it's just an electric grid, bam. Transactions are done, right? But mining and blockchain is different. Okay, that's what makes it private. Now, you can still see who's making transactions, but you can see where the transactions are going, okay? But you don't really have access to the individuals who are making those transactions. At least I don't think that's what it's supposed to be, is private in that sense. But they can tell that there's been a transaction, and they can see where it either came from or where it went. So there's some kind of ability there which would make it so that criminals would not want to use the blockchain platform for the fear of getting caught. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does or not, but I'm not real tech on blockchain and its abilities or its limits. I just have the basic knowledge of what I feel is good enough for me and should be good enough for everybody else out there. And so I just go by that. And when I get a chance, I do extra research to try to learn more. But the point is, we grew by 30 times during a slow period last year where we got bogged down. Even though we're not on a trading exchange, we were doing enough peer-to-peer transactions within our own community, purchasing things from each other, that our transactions slowed down. It got so bad that we couldn't even transact for a couple months, or maybe 3 months. I can't remember. But anyway, in the meantime, the creators of our coin were building a new blockchain platform, 2.0 you can call it, that is as fast as Visa and MasterCard. And as far as I know, we're the first ones to have it. So we have been preparing ourselves to migrate over to this new system. So our second anniversary, which was this March 21st, we decided to start a 24/7 live broadcast channel where any one of us who are part of the community could volunteer to come on for a half-hour minimum. They did it in half-hour slots. They divided a day, 24 hours into half-hour slots. So 48 people could come on every day and do a live broadcast and talk about TBC and our new blockchain 2.0 and migration and the leverage. To me, is the most important part of the whole idea of getting the word out of TBC. It's what's driven me for a whole year. I've been involved for a whole year, a little over a year. I got involved about a week after the first year anniversary. Okay, I had gotten involved in Bitcoin in the late part of 2016. It finally wasn't going away, and it finally got through to me that I needed to take a look at this and get involved. I first heard about it in, I think, 2011, and it just sounded crazy to me, so I ignored it. But anyway, as I was doing more research in the beginning part of 2016, so it would have been in the early part of 2017. Okay, last year. So January, February, March, there I was doing some more research on Bitcoin because I had purchased some and I needed to know a little bit. And I came across a video on TBC and I didn't recognize those letters on the coin market cap, and I didn't recognize the name of the billion coin. And I got curious and I watched a video. Then I watched another one. And that's how I got involved with the billion coin, because it was so different and it made so much sense to me that I knew I had found something that I could literally stand for. I could get behind. Its mission was something that I've been passionate my whole life, and that is freedom. Freedom and truth. Freedom, truth, and peace. Okay? We have not been in a situation to have a solution to the mess we have been in for decades with the central banking system controlling our country's monetary system. Okay? They got involved and took over in 1913 by using their man, Woodrow Wilson, a complete traitor to the United States people. Certainly not the only one. They've all been traitors to us, okay? Not all, but from Woodrow Wilson on until John F. Kennedy, they were all bought and paid for. And they did the bidding work of the central banking systems. This is not conspiracy theory, this is fact. You can find out from any legitimate author and anywhere on the internet, in your libraries, in your bookstores. If you want to go research, it's history. Okay, so what happened was I was familiar with all that part of it. And so being that there was absolutely nothing we could do, I mean, back when John F. Kennedy became president, there was some things he could do. Okay, it was kind of in between a technology situation where he could actually control things still. All he had to do was make sure the silver didn't leave the money system that it was still based on, and the gold. And he wanted to make sure to strengthen that system and try to get it back into the hands of the government, because it was in the bank of the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank. Okay. And he saw what was happening. He saw that they were slowly taking the silver and the gold away from the currency or the money. Okay. Which they accomplished under Nixon in 1971. And they took us off the gold standard. Okay. Then our currency completely was fiat. Okay. Worthless. Okay. But Kennedy was doing good. He wanted to stop our troops from going over and getting involved in Vietnam. He wanted to pull our advisors out. He wanted to not get involved in that war. He understood what was going on. But he was up against a monster by that point. Okay, they were embedded and structured in our system since 1913. And they were strong. So he was determined, and we know what happened to John F. Kennedy. Now, he lost. He won his presidential election just barely. Against who? Richard Nixon. Okay, Richard Nixon was like Hillary Clinton and Trump. Hillary was a shoo-in. She should have been president, right? That's what we all thought. That's what we were all being told. Okay, that's the way it was with Nixon. Who was John F. Kennedy? Nobody. So when he lost, he lost a little part of his mind again, more of his mind. Anyway, there was nothing he could do, right? Lyndon Johnson was vice president when they killed John F. Kennedy. Lyndon Johnson took over. Okay, the war machines in Texas. Lyndon Johnson was a Texan. And the war went on in Vietnam. It's common sense. Okay, and when Johnson was done, there was an election in 1968, and Nixon was determined to become president then. Okay, he wasn't going to be stopped. Lo and behold, John F. Kennedy's brother, Robert, decided to run. So they didn't even let him make it to become the Democratic, person to go up against Richard Nixon. They killed him before he could even do that, because they could see what was happening. They could see how the people were loving Robert Kennedy. So Nixon became our president. And you know what happened with that? Not just to mention, like I said, he took us off the gold standard, and our currency was completely fiat from that point on. Okay, then with that kind of control and the technology that was coming out, the central banking system came out with credit cards, and they were a blast, weren't they? But what happened? We just got ourselves in more debt. It's bad enough that the country, America, against the Constitution, lost the ability to make our own money. So we had to borrow it from the private banking system. And they charged us interest. So we had to pay not only the principal, but interest. So unconstitutionally, they created the IRS and started taxing American people, income tax, to pay the interest on those loans. Today, we find ourselves $22 trillion in debt to a private bank. Okay? So that's why we have problems in America. That's why you see horrendous poverty throughout the world. It's because of those central bankers who have collected the wealth and stripped the countries that they're involved with in control of their resources and left the people in depravity, not only oppressed, but just dirt poor. I'm talking about third world countries, even second world countries. There should be nothing called a third world or a second world country. Okay, why is that? With a world that has so much abundance, it would blow you away if you really knew. But we've been told and brainwashed our entire lives that there's lack. There's not enough this, not enough that. We got to control the populations. We got to do this. We got to do that. Global warming. The planet's coming to an end. Climate change. We need your money so we can try to do something to fix this. It's just, they just BS us for the time we're born all the way. So you've got Americans that are struggling. Americans that have lost everything they've worked for when the system crashes, which it does every once in a while, doesn't it? Last one was 2008. We have not recovered since that. They tell us we have, but we haven't. We've only gotten worse. It's like Macy's, the store. They're in so much trouble. It's not even funny. People don't realize they're closing their stores. I mean, it's just, we know there's a retail apocalypse. People say, well, it's because of online sales. No, it's not. It's not because of online sales whatsoever. It's because they just aren't selling anything because the people don't have the extra money to buy the stuff that they normally used to buy 20 years ago. Because the money is not as valuable as it was 20 years ago. Okay, so now the system has reached its point where it has to crash. When the US dollar has become, or has is no longer the reserve currency of the world for the first time in decades, then you know that the world doesn't have any faith in the dollar. That's where we're at. Okay, we are no longer the reserve currency of the world. The world is rebelling against the US dollar. They're rebelling against the private bankers. Okay? So what are they going to do? What can they do? What is Trump and the Patriots going to do? Well, they've had a plan from the beginning. Okay? We have had a plan from the beginning. We put Trump into office against all odds. We weren't about to go down without a fight against Hillary. We just had enough. So we stepped up finally. And what did that take? It took coming together as a group, as a community of American patriots. That's what it took. And we went to the polls and we voted. Do you see the power in that? How do you think John F. Kennedy won? It was the patriots at that time that stepped up and united. There's power in unity of people. We are powerful because we are humans. We are the most valuable thing on the earth. That's why our coin is based on you and I. And every single human being out there, from a one-day-old child to the oldest person that's living in the world. Unbelievable value. So every person that joins our community raises the price of our coin until we reach our first billion members. In which case, the price will max at that point. It will never get higher. So 1 billion times what? 2.2, if it was based on today's price of gold, euros, or 2.8. Actually, it would be about 3. Okay, so 1 billion times 3 would be $3 billion is what each coin will be worth. If you have one coin right now, today it's currently worth $8 million, and it's going up in price until it hits $3 billion. That is the power of cryptocurrency. So people, you see what's going on. You've been told and you see it and you hear it and maybe you ignore it, and that's okay because we don't want to go there. But we've been told to have a little gold on hand, have a little silver, have a little extra cash, because we'll still be on that system when everything falls apart. And inflation will be the last horrendous thing that we're going to see. When we see a loaf of bread go up to 15 bucks, are we going to have cash to purchase that loaf of bread to eat? Okay, so we just kind of let people know, hey, be a little prepared. Have some extra food on hand. some extra water filters, some extra medicine. Have a few things maybe you can barter with, like toilet paper or whatever. Things that people are going to need that they're not going to be able to afford. But they'll have something that maybe you want, and you can exchange it for it. Okay? But again, why do we say gold and silver or platinum? Because those are real. Those are valuable. They can be used as money. Well, guess what? Cryptocurrency like Bitcoin will also have full value as money, just because of supply and demand. Okay, not to mention that it's a more private system, and it's a system that people can't steal or rob from you. Well, it certainly makes it harder, right? They'd have to, get you in a situation where they'd force you to give them your passwords for your wallets. But it would certainly make it more difficult than them just coming and burglarizing your home and trying to find your gold and silver. Or, sticking you up as you're out and about because they know you're carrying gold, because you just, but the point is, these things are options to protect your wealth. Gold and silver, platinum, anything that has real value, right? Real estate, land, it will protect, it will go down in value just like it did in 2008. So, but if you understand that and you're prepared for that and you're ready to deal with it, then land is still okay. Oil is still okay. There are things that have value, but cryptocurrency is the easiest thing to have. And it's real, and it is an option to protect your wealth. Now, is it a solution for to reverse global poverty, financial poverty? No, but our coin is. And that is what we are here telling you about, because after 2 years, we have stepped it up to a new blockchain platform that is so fast, it will blow Bitcoin away. It will blow the trading exchanges away. By the way, those trading exchanges are centralized. Just so you know, countries can, by law, regulate them out of doing business in those countries, like China has already done. Now, that doesn't make China a country. You have to understand what China is doing. China was creating and backing their yuan with gold, okay, for the first time. And they wanted their people to put their blinders on and concentrate on this new cash system, this new monetary system that's now backed by their gold. They wanted to use that, the yuan, to buy their oil. They are the highest consumer of oil in the world, China. Over 1 billion people, right? They consume a lot of oil. So they started buying their oil with the yuan, and these countries that they were buying it from were accepting it. Now, they get most of their oil from Saudi Arabia, so I don't know if they've done a deal yet with Saudi Arabia or not, but when Saudi Arabia says, yeah, we're going to give you our oil for your yuan because it's backed by your gold, and the petrodollar, the US dollar, is not. If that happens, then that's it for the US dollar in China, which is their goal, get rid of the US dollar. Russia already has. That's why Russia is deemed an enemy of our country. No, not the people. The deep state, yeah. Who's controlled by the central banking system in America, yeah. Russia's their enemy because they don't have any control over Russia anymore. A democratic nation with Christians as a majority of the religion. They don't have any control over it. They do have control of America, a democratic nation which is mostly Christian. Okay? And they have control over all kinds of countries. Most of them on the West, but their dollar used to be a reserve note everywhere. But countries are kicking it out. And they're going back to the only solution that is, and that is gold. Okay? So in our system, we'll have to go back to that. Whether the central banking system wins this war that we're at, this war that's going on between Trump and patriots in the central banking system, or Trump wins it, there'll be a transition where we switch over to a currency, a brand new currency, that will be backed by gold. If the central banking system does it, it'll be great for a while until they start to take the gold away again, because that's what they do. They need to control. They're all about control. So we'll still be on that same old system. We'll still do nothing for our kids, except to keep them slaves like we've been. But if Trump and Patriots win, then that's the end of the central banking system. Okay, you won't need banks. What do you need banks for? You won't need a bank account. This is the banks, the money, the fiat money is electronic, right? They just make it up electronically. Every time we get to a point where we're running out of money, what are we going to do? We're going to have to shut the government down. They just raised the debt cap. Okay, we'll just pass a law. We'll raise the debt cap. We'll get some more money from the Fed. And the Fed says, yeah, okay, here, we're bailing you out, because they don't want you to default. Otherwise, everybody's pointing their finger at them and saying, you guys did this. And that's not what they want. So they keep the countries on the edge all the time of defaulting on their loans. And this is how they control. Okay, so you see what happens. You see what happens. Okay, that is the system we've been on and been enslaved by our whole lives and our parents' lives. Okay, my parents were born in 1926. Okay, now the system wasn't as bad back then because they hadn't taken us off the gold standard yet. But it was bad. Okay, in the sense that they were still controlling the monetary system, and people were getting in trouble because there was some poverty out there in America, but we were still the richest nation in the world. But they had their design, they had their goals, and they completed them throughout the decades. And the American people didn't realize what was going on until it was too late. 1971, it was too late. Reagan couldn't do anything about it. The structure was so strong that by the time Reagan came into office, that he couldn't do anything. His hands were basically tied. Okay, and that was that. Then their man George H.W. Bush took over. Okay, then we had the Clintons. Then we had Bush's son. Then we had Obama, the worst president this country has ever had. And that was it. What happened after 2008? A guy called himself Satoshi Nakamoto created the blockchain platform and changed the whole world. We just didn't know it yet. It's like when the internet came out. We didn't realize what it was. People were scared. Oh, I'm not going to put my credit card on this thing. This is crazy. What is this? You see? You know, am I a conspiracy theorist? No, this is all fact. Okay, this is it. So because we're going over to this new system, it's going to blow Bitcoin away, and we're going to become a household name in a matter of less than 12 months. And we're going to have our own economy because they have a little bit of an economy, right? You can go to a store, certain stores, certain places of business and actually use Bitcoin. And the reason why you can, in spite of the fact that that price goes up and down, is because the owners have enough cash flow with the fiat system that they don't need to use that Bitcoin. They're smart enough, we'll take the Bitcoin because we know that has value. And we'll just keep it in our wallets and just leave it alone. And they know that 12 months later, it's going to be worth way more than it was 12 months earlier. And the following 12 months, the same thing. So they're just going to sit on it. Okay, the few that can. So with 12 million people that can do business, they've got a small economy. But when you've got 50 million, which we will blow our 3 million, if we just grew by 30 times again, like we did last year, we'd be at 90 million in March of 2019. 90 million. We'd have our own economy. Half of that would give us an economy. Give us 3 or 4 times the amount of Bitcoin right now. You don't think people would be interested in taking our money when it's not even volatile? When we can actually go to them and say, look at how our system works. It's on an algorithm. The price only goes up every day and never goes down. And they start to realize, you mean you're telling me if I accept your billion coin or your Kringles, that it's going to be more valuable tomorrow? And the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next. Yes. Okay. And you have how many people? We have 50 million right now. We can tell them wherever it will be at that point. You know, I mean, that's how it's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner and faster than that, because people will start seeing and noticing the billion coin because of our blockchain platform. But you get the idea. They're going to say, what, you've got 50, you've got 90 million people that will do business with me? Come on, please, beg. I'm begging you to take me into your community so I can accept this. Okay, so all cryptocurrencies are an option to protect your wealth, like gold, silver, platinum, anything of value. Those are options, but they're not solutions. Okay, so this episode is about realizing that we are a solution. Our coin is an absolute solution to poverty in the world, the entire world. Okay, our goal is to get 1 million billionaires. Okay, we've only got 2,000 billionaires in the world today. Just a little over 2,000 out of 7.5 billion people. 2,000 individuals own 99.5% of the wealth of this world. And the other 0.5% is being divided between the remaining 7.5 billion people. And you wonder why you see what you see in the world. And you wonder why, well, geez, I can't even take the kids to a movie anymore. The prices are crazy. The popcorn, the soda, the candy. This isn't the way I grew up. So there's a huge population right here in America that are feeling it really bad. Not only that, but you can drive down the streets of our metropolitan areas and see the people living in tents on both sides of the street. Solid, packed, sidewalks is packed with tents. It's absolutely pathetic that they have done this to us. We haven't been able to do anything about it, so don't feel bad. Until now, for the first time in this history of this world, we are at a position with technology where we can now take that control back. We can free ourselves. Countries are doing it right now. Countries like Venezuela are doing it. China is doing it. Even though they're not on a cryptocurrency of their own, they're backing their money by gold. They're starting the process. Yes, they've outlawed the trading exchanges from doing business with cryptocurrency in their country for now. But see, once they've got the confidence and the faith of their people back and they've kicked that US dollar out, what do you think all the countries are going to do? Especially when they see Venezuela having an actual cryptocurrency that they've given their people and backed it by gold. They're already making deals with the Palestinians. You have to realize, people, that politics and money are intertwined. Why? Because they're either going to give freedom to our people, to us, or they're going to oppress us. Lack of money oppresses us. Okay? A communist system can oppress us. A capitalist system can still be very, very evil because it's ripe for greed, right? But it's nowhere near what communism or socialism is. So it's, of course, an obvious, the better option. But when it can be controlled like the central banking system has used it, then we're slaves. So money creates freedom. It creates freedom. It creates much more peace. It eliminates crime due to lack. So it's just, and there's nothing bad about money in the hands of the people, controlled by the people. It is absolutely the best thing for the entire earth. It used to be that way hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Okay, but back then you had monarchs, monarch system, kings, okay, that controlled everything, and the people were like peasants, and that was, you know, millennia. And you know how America was built. People getting away from that monarch systems in Europe. Okay, so that's basically what America was built on. But guess what? They followed us right over. They followed us right over and tried to take our money system away, and they did. Even as far back as Andrew Jackson, he actually, you know, ran for president on the platform of, hey, I'll get us off this central banking system, or whatever it was called back then, and I'll bring the money back to our control. So they voted in him, and that's exactly what he did. He got rid of it. Okay, and then it came back again. And I think it might have got, well, yeah, they got rid of it again because they lost their power. And in America, they got very, very strong under the Rockefellers and all those guys, Warburgs and the Morgans, JP Morgans, Chase. And they created that Federal Reserve, and they wanted to get that act passed. And the president at the time was Taft, okay, between 1908 and 1912. He had his first term, and he told them to jump off a cliff. He wouldn't have anything to do with central banking and the Federal Reserve Act. Okay, so he went up again for president for re-election for a second term, and Woodrow Wilson was bought and paid for. He was the central banking system's man, but Woodrow Wilson didn't stand a chance against Taft at the time. Okay, he just didn't stand a chance. So the central banking systems were, you know, panicking. They didn't know what to do. They didn't want to wait. Well, they knew what to do, okay, but they certainly didn't want to wait another 4 years to get it done. So they went back to Teddy Roosevelt, who had been president before Taft, and he said, Teddy, please run. We'll take care of you. Just run against those two, and you'll pull enough votes off of Taft where Wilson will win. And that's exactly what happened. 3 days after Wilson took office, he passed that Federal Reserve Act and betrayed our country, along with the traitor, Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, so that's what happened. And it's been that way since. And so we haven't known anything other than that. And it got so strong over the decades that, again, presidents couldn't do anything about it. We, the people, couldn't do anything about it. But we did become united, and we got John F. Kennedy elected against all odds, and we got Trump elected against all odds. And now we are winning all the battles for the first time because of technology. Okay? We're making peace over there in North Korea instead of war. Okay? While the central banking system tries to remain in control and thinks that they have control, Trump in the background is saying one thing and doing another, because that's our plan. So we're going to create peace in Syria, and then we're going to create peace in Iran. We're creating peace all over the world. Okay? Most Americans have no clue what we're doing. Okay, so we need to have, now is the time when the people can take control of their lives back and get rid of being slaves by having a monetary system that's in our hands. That's cryptocurrency. But our coin is an absolute solution. And so we need to get the word out, not only that our coin is built to take care of the entire planet, even double the population that it is right now, but we are also a solution. Well, we're just going to bring that abundance back. Okay. And it's because of the way we've created ourselves, our coin, and because we've got the new updated and super fast platform that we're moving our people over to. In fact, we just started moving our people over today. Okay, even though we've been doing these live videos since the 21st of March, we knew it was coming. Okay, and so the whole point of this was to get the word out that, hey, this is what's making us different. Bitcoin is popular enough now, and all the other cryptocurrencies are popular enough that people are learning about them. So they need to know about the Billion coin, because there's another coin coming out that's based on an algorithm that will be an abundance-based coin just like ours. That will come out in April of next year. The more of those, the better. The more countries that create and get on cryptocurrency, the better for the entire world. There's no competition in money, okay? The more money, not currency, the more money, the better. Okay, so I think that's about it for today. I want to thank you guys. In fact, let me go over and look at my live. I always forget to do this. My live chat. And say hi to anybody who's around on a Sunday. And my live. Okay.
Consumers can use their BitMint.
Hang on a second.
Top up their prepaid mobile account, deposit directly into their bank account, turn their BitMint.
Okay, I kind of lost. There we go. All right.
Directly into their bank account, turn their BitMint.
Okay. Jules, thanks for coming. Reverend Derek Adams, I don't think I've seen you before. I appreciate you coming on and listening to what I have to say. For some reason. Okay, hang on a second. I'm having Wi-Fi problems, so I can't see really my entire chatting system. So I'm going to go back. Okay. All right, guys. I'll have more tomorrow for you guys. I'm scheduled already for 5 o'clock, same time. Episode 38. Okay, we'll go over more of what I'm talking about today, because I didn't get a chance to really talk about the leverage that we have right now. Because people look at our coin and they say, well, Paul, it's worth $8 million. How can I get a coin? How can I ever be a billionaire if I can never get a coin? You know, it's the same thing you do when you look at all cryptocurrencies right now. It's like Bitcoin is 8,000 or 9,000. It's like, okay, how can I buy a full coin? Well, you can't unless you've got 8,000 or 9,000, but you can buy pieces of it. But that's not the way our coin works. We have control of how we distribute our coin. Okay, so when I say we're out to get 1 million billionaires first, multi-billionaires, and then 1 billion millionaires, that's exactly what we're going to do. That's the whole purpose, and not to have a few rich people to come in and buy what they want from us and then leave scraps for the rest of us. It's not going to happen with the Billion coin, friends. The Billion coin we can control to a point where we can distribute that wealth out evenly, most evenly. Okay, some obviously that get in sooner will have an opportunity to have a little bit more. Okay, and if they work hard, they can get it for free. Like if they do what I do and just tell people about it, give the gift away. We have promos like you wouldn't believe. This makes it so that you can get a full coin for either free or you can purchase it for $100. Not that full coin. We don't discount the coin. But what you do is you buy $100 worth of Kringles at the current price of the day you buy it, and we give you an award. We call it the a reward. We call it the cookie reward system. So we'll give you 100 million cookie rewards. It's just a point system. It's put into your back office. Okay, and then during the redemption period, which we're in one right now for the whole month of May, and then we'll have another one probably in November. This is our second one, by the way. Then anybody who has cookies can just push a button in their back office and it gets transferred to 100 million Kringles. And 100 million Kringles is 1 billion coin. So you can become a billionaire for $100. Well, there's a $10 lifetime wallet fee. And also, well, should I say, there's an annual $10 fee for your back office. But it includes a lifetime wallet fee with no transactions. We're not about gouging people. You have to understand we are so different that you've never seen anything like our community. Our community is full of people who have switched their scarcity mindset over to abundance. There's no selfishness in us. We're all about giving and creating financial wealth and abundance in the entire world. Okay? And it's going to happen with or without you. Not everybody's going to be like-minded, right? Well, we only need 1 billion out of 7. So we're very, very positive we can find 1 billion people. Okay? It will happen in the next couple of years, especially with the new migration over to this new system, which will just blow everything out of the water. It's a game changer. Okay, thank you guys. Go enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and I will be back here tomorrow, Monday, God willing. Okay, something comes up and I'm not here by a couple of minutes after 5, then you'll know I'm probably not coming on. Okay, but so far I've been pretty good at being here every day. Okay, thanks, you guys, for everything again. And I love you. Take care. And please get more informed. Look at all the different links below in the description of the video. Do a little bit of investigation for your own sake. The risk, we're giving $3,000 away free. Well, you have to pay the $10 to get it in your back office and your wallet, right? $10 for $10, we're going to give you 3,000 in Kringles. Okay? There's one leverage you've never seen before. If you want to test the leverage system out, see if that happens. And then if you want to test the $100 to become a triple billionaire or an instant 8 millionaire, then you can risk $100. $200, you'll get 2 coins. $1,000, you'll get 10 coins. 10 coins times a potential of $3 billion each. What is that, $33 billion for $1,000? Come on, Americans. We are the richest nation in the world, but we're slaves. That currency system we're on, fiat currency system on, is vulnerable, okay? Because it's an illusion. It can be taken from you. The banks can close. They call it a banking holiday. It happened in Greece. People couldn't go to the bank and get their money. Those who had Bitcoin could go to the ATM machines and pull out money. So just something for you to think about. And be lucky there's some of us that are out here talking about it, because if nobody was talking about it and if it wasn't there, we'd still be in the same situation that we've always been in. Vulnerable to having our wealth taken from us overnight. Unless we have it in gold and silver. You see what I'm saying? Okay, that's it. I'm out. Thanks, guys.